Hey, everybody. Woo, checking in with you on this Wednesday in a celebratory mood behind Virginia, right? Virginia did the thing, did the thing, did the thing. Woo, it was looking crazy there when the first returns started coming in. The numbers were not looking right, but sure enough, as the larger districts started reporting their results, they pulled it out. It was a little tight, but enough of a point spread. Nobody can say it's not what it is. So Virginia, woo woo, like done, done, done. Here's what I want to look at, you all. Now we know that Florida, DeSantis is hooping and hollering. He's been really cagey about what Florida was going to do. Waiting to, wait and see mode. Well, now there's a special session that's being called of the Florida State Legislature next week to address it, because unlike the democratic process where California and Virginia did this, where they put it to the voters, we know the deal with these other states like Texas, Ohio, other states that have passed gerrymandered maps. And of course Maga is losing it now. All of a sudden it's these map changes are so undemocratic and so twisted, and so this, like, how did we even get here? Why is this even happening, right? These political pundits are something else to watch. How the pressure that they're under to spin it in a certain way. But anyway, what I want to look at, let's go, y'all. Florida. Because at this point, it's a wash. Trump's whole plan to do this, to be some slam dunk countermeasure to maintain control of the House, and we know now Senate is also looking a little interesting. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. Between California's 5 seats, 4 seats in Virginia, and a likely seat out of Utah, that's 10 seats. So it looks like even if Florida comes through, it's basically going to be a wash. Like it basically cancels everything out, and it's across the board. No advantage. Spirit. But I knew I left the computer open to share this with you. Talking about the special session, and then I'm going to get to the cards. The Florida Senate, this came from the president of the Florida Senate on April 15th, announcing this special session that they're going to have next week, which will include what Florida's going to do about redistricting its map. And so this president of the Florida Senate, Ben Albritton, look at the language that he's saying. He writes to the senators, and he says, this is a quote from his announcement. As a reminder, senators should be aware that in prior cycles, significant litigation has followed passage of new maps. The Florida Supreme Court has previously limited the scope of legislative privilege when it comes to redistricting. Sitting legislators may be compelled to produce records or be subject to questioning under oath about conversations with colleagues, with legislative staff, or with outside parties who may attempt to persuade the legislature to pass maps that favor or disfavor a political party or incumbent. In other words, the Florida legislature may be resistant to DeSantis's push to step up at the last minute and do this. Not to mention that if they were to, I think there are 3 seats that they could gain if they passed it. It comes out to a wash with the 10 seats. So let's take a look, you all. Will the Florida State Legislature, and they don't even have the maps yet. They don't have draft maps yet to even propose. Spirit, in the wake of the win by Virginia yesterday, will the Florida State Senate redistrict its map? Or will these senators, because of the threat of litigation, etc., that producing records, having to demonstrate whether you had conversations and with whom to favor a political party? The 9 of Wands. They're like, look, and I love that it's got all those papers underneath. I am reading today from the Adventure Tarot. They don't want that smoke. I'm telling you, these senators don't want that smoke. And that Senate president, the Florida Senate president, basically sent, put that message out there, waved that flag, and said, "Hey, y'all, the Three of Cups. Now that's celebratory. Will they do? Will they act like Congress in D.C. and do it against their own interest, Spirit? Will Florida pass a new map? Will Florida pass a new map? Six of Cups, learning from the past. Eight of Pentacles, working at it. They're going to produce the map. Ten of Pentacles. Okay, so they're going to produce a redistricted map in time for this legislative session next week. Will it pass? Will they vote on it and pass it? The Knight of Pentacles. You all, they might. Oh my gosh. And the World. Is the World a completion in terms of ending the discussion, or is it a win? The Nine of Swords. They call it a scout in this deck. The Prince of Swords. And the Ace of Swords. I would not be surprised. And I don't know why I was thinking maybe there'd be enough momentum to go against it. I would not be surprised. Under duress, notice how those swords started popping up back to back to back. Under duress, I would not be surprised. I don't ignore, I'm sorry, I was holding that upside down. I wouldn't be surprised if the legislature caves. It's interesting that DeSantis, who is going out, he's term limited, but he still has influence because he's clearly trying to aim for 2028, and I guess they still want to curry favor with them. But the good news is, again, when you do the math, because of what Virginia has done, it basically becomes a wash. And they can't refute it and say that it was fixed because the votes are the votes. Like these were the voters who did this. But it's going to be a wash. That's just the bottom line. The plan to try and keep the House by reworking these districts are going to be a wash. And Spirit is also saying, Spirit, I want to confirm, Spirit, will we see in some of these districts, will we surprisingly see Democratic candidates win? That we heard is the case in Texas. Like, don't be surprised. Those areas, the way they jacked up that map, don't be surprised if there's backlash. Spirit, will we see Democrats win in some of these districts that have been gerrymandered? The Chariot, we sure will. And the Ace of Pentacles, and the Tower. I don't even have to work hard for it, y'all. Spirit is giving it to us, right? The Tower, the Chariot, moving on, the people's will, not going to be stopped, overcoming the hurdles of redistricting maps to try and minimize the power of Democratic voters and independent voters for that matter. So the Chariot getting over that hurdle. Ace of Pentacles, a yes. Oop, that just wants to dance. And the Tower, the dismantling of the changes that they thought were going to go in their favor, those changes get dismantled, right? So we're going to see some surprising results in some of those very districts that they thought they were tilting over in their favor. All right. I want to move on to this made my jaw drop, maybe yours too, with everything happening in Iran. And of course, we'll continue to look at that. Ukraine peace talks, right, with Russia. Apparently, it is a legitimate thing that there is being floated in the Donbass region, right, which has been a central focus of Russia, saying they want the Donbass region. Ukraine, of course, saying, because if you get that, what's to stop you from trying to further encroach if we agree to that as part of the peace talks? So what are they doing? They're floating calling the Donbass region Donnyland. A take on Disneyland, of course, but to appeal to Trump's ego, that if Donbass is renamed Donnyland, this is a real thing, y'all. New York Times reported it. It's out there. Check it out for yourselves. If Donbass is renamed Donnyland, then Donnyland would be basically overseen by Trump's so-called Board of Peace. If the Board of Peace and Trump, the name Donnyland, that therefore that would be more of a security, a security measure for Ukraine to feel like, okay, it's called Donnyland. It's being run by or being co-run by and overseen by this so-called Board of Peace. So therefore, we have protection against Russia trying to come in and retake that area. If we can make that a part of the peace agreement. Spirit. First of all, is this a real thing? We understand that Witkoff and Jared Kushner are still the main people trying to negotiate these talks, although they're spread thin. They're also over in Iran with JD, apparently. Woo! If at first you don't succeed, try again, right? All right. Spirit. Is this a real thing? Like, is this literally a part of the peace talks for Ukraine? Is this something that's going to gain momentum to end the war with Ukraine? The tower. I don't think it's going anywhere. Donnyland. Wheel of Fortune. Judgment. Dang, the major. But wait a minute. There's some energy to this with the majors coming out this way. Majors, for those of you who don't read tarot, there's only 22 of them in a 78 card deck. So when you get them coming back to back like this, that is spirit like, hello, I got some things to say. There is, I don't know that it'll go through with this tower coming, but it's on the table. This is a legit situation that's on the table with Judgment. Sort of a second chance, aha, revelation. Can we get it through with the Wheel of Fortune? Looking forward, looking at the next cycle, moving out as a peace agreement measure, moving out of the war or concluding the war, and the long-term implications of the Donbass region. The Four of Cups is the Ten of Wands. It's a tough sell. Is this something that that Kushner and Witkoff are pushing via Trump? Is this something they really see as a measure to get Trump on board? The Guide of Wands, that's the Queen of Wands. And the Ten of Cups. It's a real thing, you all. It's a real thing. Will it ultimately pass? I see the challenges with that tower, but that's also a breakthrough and an ending done with this war. Will it go through? Will there be some renaming of that region with the Board of Peace overseeing it? The Knight of Wands, they call it the Explorer here. The Knight of Wands. And the High Priestess. Not a done deal, but it is on the table. And the key is, I get it. The key Spirit is saying is this, so because to rename it is one thing. Okay, fine. It's got Donnyland. It's got that name. But the real issue is, does that lend the security that Ukraine would want and need going forward? That's the High Priestess. Is whatever, naming it is one thing that makes Trump happy, whatever. But then will the U.S., this so-called Board of Peace, whoever's on it, like, do we even know who really is on this Board of Peace? But is that enough? Is that sufficient protection for Ukraine? Nine of Pentacles. To rebuild, financial considerations, Six of Pentacles. So now we start talking the money. So if it's Donnyland, you got Witkoff and Kushner in there saying, we'll come build, we'll, this sort of, we're here for you. We're going to have beautiful, the most luscious skyscrapers you ever saw, da 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 da. It's the financial investment that they would make in the region and the four swords. That's what has to be clarified. That's what has to, so Ukraine would be looking at a deal that not only is about ending the war and perhaps protecting against further incursion by Russia, but it's about the money that would have to be invested in the Donbass region in order for Trump and company to say we're all a part of it. And the Seven of Cups, the choices that would have to be made around that. So the bottom line, you all, this is a thing. The thing is a thing. We might see a Donnyland. Hey, different world we're living in right now, right? We might see a Donnyland in Ukraine. Donbass might be Donnyland, or something along those lines. But that's a legit situation that is being put on the table, and it's going to come down to how much investment and money that at least will be promised. And it's not just about security; it's about investment in that land to rebuild it, and that's of course what these real estate guys, Kushner and Witkoff, are going to be promising. We'll see how that goes. All right, you all. I'll check in with you a little later. Woo, chin up, Virginia. And this whole, whatever Florida does, they've been warned. All right. They've been warned. Litigation may be coming if you do this. But even if so, the numbers bear out. Like, we don't need to sweat that at this point. And not to mention, Spirit confirmed that we're going to see some of those districts go for the Dems, no matter how they've rejiggered those maps. So good news all around. All right. Chin up. Woo, shoulders back. Keep breathing. And I'll talk with you later. Bye.